Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. My name is Melissa Joyce and I'm probably looking a little different than usual, and that's because I don't have any makeup on because I'm doing a bit of a get ready with me. It's a full face of makeup that I have either never talked about or just never reviewed. I have products that I go to quite often, and they are not things that I have done proper reviews of, but I thought this might give us a chance to do a full face of products that are new to being featured on my channel and give me not a super in-depth review, but a chance to chat a little bit about some of the products that I like that I just haven't highlighted to you so far. So here's a little behind the scenes secret. I film in my bedroom, but this is not where I keep my makeup. So usually I'll bring in the 1 or 2 products I'm talking about, but because it's a full face this time, I need to bring in a bunch of products. And what better way to do that than in a big muffin tin? So this is my setup that I've got going on for today. I'm gonna pull my hair back and then I will zoom you in and we will start with putting on makeup. If you like these kinds of get readies with me, hit the like button. That lets me know that you like it and lets me know if I should be doing more of these. And if you've not yet subscribed, but as you're watching you like this kind of content, feel free to hit the subscribe button as well. So let's get started on my face. It has been washed and moisturized, but not primed. I'm going to be using a Cover FX primer. This is the mattifying primer with anti-acne treatment. This is actually one of the first primers that I ever owned. I really like Cover FX in general as a brand. I find a lot of their products are really good. And this one, I mean, I found, this is my second container of it. I went through the first one and it took a long time to get through. I find it both smooths, but then also has the anti-acne properties in it. I don't know if it does anything for me or not, but I feel like my skin has been better since I've been using it. So it smooths and gives anti-acne properties, and I can get on board with that. It is salicylic acid that is in here, so if you respond well to that, this might be good for you. If you don't, you might not. I have found if I use this and I powder, I never have a problem with my foundation getting oily through the day. I would also say that this here is the little size that you get close to the checkout at Sephora. The 0.5 fluid ounce, the full size is 1 fluid ounce, but you actually can save money by buying 2 of these rather than 1 full size. For some reason, it is cheaper to buy it per fluid ounce in the size that's up close to the register at Sephora. So if you're interested in trying this, take a look and compare prices because buying the half size might be the way to go. While I wait for my primer to set, I'm going to do my foundation and my powdering at the end after I do my eyes, just in case of any fallout or anything like that. I'm going to set a base down with something I don't use very often. It's a Maybelline Color Tattoo 24 Hour, and this one is in the shade Bold Gold. I actually think the product is quite good here. I'm just not sure why I bought myself the gold. It's not my favorite color, and I think these would be really good bases and probably somewhat of a dupe for the MAC paint pots if you bought one in more of a skin tone matte color. I have no idea of what kind of a look I'm going for today, by the way. I'm just playing around with some products. So a gold base, hey, why not, right? Some people really love these color tattoos and really swear by them. For me, at least for this particular color, I find it's not as pigmented as I would like, and if you try to overblend it too much, it just becomes nothing but shimmer and doesn't really give you a whole lot of color coverage. I'm going to do most of this look with a little palette that I've had for quite a while. This is again one of those things that you buy by the checkout in Sephora, and this is the mini version of the Smashbox Full Exposure palette. You can see, I hope, that this has been fairly well loved. You can see there's some chips missing out of things, and I've been using quite a bit of them. I tend to only use the matte colors. This bottom row here is kind of shimmery, and I don't tend to go into those ones, but I do like the mattes that are in here, and they have next to no fallout. They're decently pigmented, and I just find that it's a nice neutral palette that is easy to go to. I'm gonna start with the very lightest matte shade there, just to kind of go a little bit over where I did the gold and just to powder a little bit up there. And I'm going to go into this more neutral color that actually does show up somewhat dark on my skin tone and use that to do my crease just on top of where I put the gold, instead of blending the edge of it. So you can see, for me at least, that color does, you know, it looks very skin tone, but it does give me some color. And I'm just using a little Sephora eyeshadow brush here that came in a eye brush kit. So there's two dark browns in here. One is sort of a warm chocolate brown and the other is almost grayish brown. I'm going to use a little bit of that grayish brown just along the lash line to sort of darken up the outside of my lid a little bit. And I'm just going to do that with a little crown pencil brush. This is C513. And I'm just doing that to add a little bit of depth to my eyes. And sort of taking what's on the brush and blending it upwards from my lash line. The next thing I'm going to do, because I want some nice shimmer on the inside edge and center of my eyes, is I'm going to be using this Natural Nude Shimmer Brick from Physicians Formula. I was really turned on to this by Thetela. She talks about this all the time, and I really thought it was going to just be a swirl around and get, you know, a highlight, which it definitely is with these brighter colors, but you really can, you know, they're little squares, but especially if you don't mind using it with your finger, you can really get in there and get, you know, some different gold tones and pink tones. There actually are quite a few different tones here. For me, I'm going to try to concentrate into a more gold tone shimmer from the shimmer brick to do sort of the inside half of my lids. Just to give it a little bit more shine. And then I'm going to sort of swirl my finger on top of those very white and light pink shades to get this for right in the center of my lid. And I'm just sort of tapping around to blend it and keeping it concentrated close to the lash line. What I'm going to do now is get on to doing my foundation, and I'm going to use a foundation that has really been a staple for me. This is what I always go back to in between testing other foundations, and that is the L'Oreal True Match. I have two that I sort of vary between or mix depending on the time of year or what my skin looks like. This is N2, which is neutral 2. They have such a huge range of different shades of the L'Oreal True Match, and they have cool, they have neutral, they have warm, and I have both the neutral 2, which I'm going to use today, as well as the cool 2, which is quite a bit more pink tone, and depending on how much sun I've got, I could kind of vary between those two or mix them. The one thing that is a drawback for this is it's not a pump. I tend to do this and get some on my finger, dot it around, and then apply from there. It's not the most sanitary thing in the world, but I do tend to go through these pretty quick, so I haven't had one go bad or anything. And yeah, it's not a huge full coverage, but I'm usually not going for full coverage in my day-to-day. I'm gonna use my Beauty Blender to blend, and I just find that this foundation for me, it gives sheer enough coverage where I can still see my freckles, and I'm sure it's buildable if you want it to be. And it never gets cakey, it never does anything weird on me. It's, you know, a good go-to workhorse foundation. And it's from the drugstore. On days where I don't have a lot to cover, or, you know, I'm doing a more natural look, I do tend to focus the foundation in the center of my face a little bit more, because if this part and here looks, you know, more flawless, you can then sort of shear it out towards your neck and have lighter coverage there. There is an SPF 17 in here, so there might be a little bit of flashback on it. I don't do a lot of flash photography myself. This might be giving me a little bit more pale because of it, but again, in my day-to-day life, it's not something that I'm concerned about. My next step is going to be concealer, and this is a product that I have just been testing. When I ordered some stuff from Sephora, I got it as a sample, and oh my goodness, I am loving it. So I was sent a sample of the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, and it's given me all 4 shades. I've been using the lightest one here, which is Vanilla, which is light 2. There's actually a lighter shade than this. And I've also used a bit, and I think I might do it today, of the darkest one just for bronzing for me. But this, first of all, I've been using this over and over and over, and I've barely gone through any of it. It is so creamy, and it's like it melts into your skin. It is so beautiful. I've just been applying it with my finger. I'm sure other people would do it with brushes, but I find this lets me get, you know, where I want it to be, and then I can blend it out from there. And it just melts so nicely into the skin. I've been using it. I mean, I don't always highlight other parts or conceal other parts of my face, but it's just so good, and it just, like, it looks so beautiful. I'm gonna use my Beauty Blender to blend that in. It does, it just melts into my skin, and it just looks like it's erased everything. It's crazy. I guess I've never really used a high-end concealer because, oh my goodness, this is so beautiful. It's just so, so nice. I'm going to set my under eyes with a very old setting powder. This is called Setting Effects. It's in the shade Light. It's supposed to be translucent. I don't find it to be. It's an old Cover FX product. I don't like it that much, but all my other powders I've shown you guys before and talked about, so I figured why not use this. I just find that it makes things a little too light and powdery. Like, it doesn't, other things that I have sort of smooth over and make my skin look flawless, when I'm using a powder to set my under eyes or set my face, but this one just sort of seems to add sort of crepiness and dryness, which is not what I'm looking for. I'm not even sure if Cover FX makes this product anymore. It is quite old, but I much prefer my Rimmel Stay Matte powder or this e.l.f. palette here, especially the yellow tone in here to set my eyes, but wanted to use products that I have not talked about before, and I've not talked about that Setting FX powder. It's just not something I would recommend. However, I say that, I am gonna use a little bit of it just to set sort of the areas where I can get a little bit oily. I just don't see how it's in the shade Light, but is also translucent, and it's definitely not translucent. It makes me look whiter than I usually am. So let's try to add some color back again, and this may go horribly wrong, but I'm going to try using a bit of the darkest shade of concealer here to give me a bit of bronze. Oh, that may have been way too dark. I probably should have gone with the next shade. Ooh, okay. I'm going to look a lot more bronze than usual, and apparently not evenly either. And this, my friends, is why you do not use a concealer as a bronzer and contour. I actually feel like what I'm doing now, because I'm trying to blend it so much, is taking away some of the foundation coverage underneath, but that's okay. I don't have huge things to do today, so being a little bit more, not having perfect makeup is not going to be the end of my life today. I'm looking a lot more contoured than I usually am. Not necessarily a bad thing, but this is a little outside my comfort zone. Let's add on some blush. This may actually be one of the first products that I ever bought from Sephora after watching so many beauty YouTubers and just wanting to look as awesome as they looked, and that is NARS Orgasm Blush. And for everybody talking about how awesome this is, I don't know if you can see, mine has, I mean, I've hit pan on it so I use it, but it's gotten that hard kind of crust on top of it that actually makes it harder to pick up color when I'm actually trying to put this on. I mean, it's nice, but for all the hype that it got, I've used nicer blushes. And I know some people love having the shimmer in their blush, but I'm not that person. So, you know, that doesn't sell it for me. I'm going to finish up the eyes before I do some highlight and my lips, and I'm going to just use a very natural brow product, and I have really been enjoying this. This is once again a sample, and it's like a little foil sample that I got from a Sephora order, but this is the Benefit Gimme Brow, and if you have watched my review of the the NYX 3-in-1 brow product, it had a brow gel in there, but it just had a huge wand on it that made it so messy to be doing my brows. And I thought, well, maybe I just don't like brow gel or, you know, non-clear brow gel. But I think what I really just didn't like was the wand, because this little Gimme Brow product, it has the most perfect little wand in here, and I don't find that it does, you know, crazy things or makes a mess in the same way that that NYX product did. And you know, I don't know if you'd say I have been blessed with pretty thick brows, or just that I never did a lot of plucking or anything when I was a kid. But if I'm doing something natural, I don't mind just sort of either doing nothing to my brows, or I really like just using this Gimme Brow product to pull through and maybe, you know, darken and get them in place a little bit. And I am really, really enjoying this. I think this is the perfect little size wand. And whatever it is about the product, it's not a super wet product, so it doesn't feel like it's making a mess. It's only getting on the brow hairs. I did not bring my eyelash curler, so I'm gonna go without for today, but I'm going to use my craziest mascara that I have. And this is, I have used this before. I used it in my Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette for one of the looks. This is my Duce mascara, and this is in Max Lash Volumizer Mascara. And let me show you the wand on this. Look at the size and fluffiness of this wand. I mean, it's like the size of my thumb. It's just, it is big and it picks up all kinds of product, but it's actually flatter on one angle than the other. So you can kind of work with it a little bit on bottom lashes, but it's just, it is messy and it gets a little clumpy, but it is super impactful. Look at that with one coat and without my eyelashes being curled. It's just, it's super black. It coats your lashes. It gives them volume. It gives them length. You know, you need to be careful working with it, but oof, you know, it adds a lot of drama. I'm doing this as a semi-everyday look, and as I mentioned before, a lot of the times when I am doing everyday looks, I won't do anything to my lower lash line. No eyeshadow, no mascara. It just keeps everything looking cleaner and brighter for me. Camera went out for a second there. See how impactful it can be? Just a little bit more on the bridge and the end of my nose. Then just a little bit there too. Just shine everything up a bit. My last step is going to be lipstick. I don't want to do anything too overpowering. And I think I want to try doing that technique where you really concentrate the color in the center and then have it fade towards the outside of the lip. And for that, I'm going to be using my NYX Butter Lipstick. I got this in a Ipsy bag, or it's some subscription. And this is in the shade Ripe Berry. So to do this technique, I'm going to be tapping instead of swiping the lipstick on, so I can sort of concentrate it on the inner edges of my lip. Make sure you can see. It's a bit of a different and more subtle look. It doesn't really give you big lips, but it kind of makes them look a little natural and flushed. It's a little bit more of a sort of Korean look rather than sort of an American style look, but that's okay. I, you know, enjoy playing around with different things, and I think that this is a lovely look as well. So I'm gonna zoom you back out and take out these hair clips. Ignore how much I need my hair done. I should be going later on this week. But there we are. That is the finished look of products that you have not seen me talk about before. I will tell you that some of my favorites here are that concealer. I think it is awesome. The foundation, as I said, it's my workhorse go-to foundation that I just adore. I am really loving the Physicians Formula Shimmer Brick, and I do enjoy the matte Smashbox formula. I think it's quite nice, and those are some of my everyday favorites that I've just not really had the chance to chat about before. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you give me a thumbs up if you did. If you have any comments at all about any of the products that I used, or things you would like to see me use, or if you kind of like these get ready with me full face sort of looks, leave me a comment down below. I respond to all of the comments that are left on my video, or at least I try to. Every once in a while one sneaks through, but I do try to take the time to respond to everybody who has taken the time to leave a comment for me. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I look forward to seeing you in my next review, and have a wonderful day. Bye!